Hello and welcome to the English Football Podcast. There's some sort of breaking news for West Ham and for the clubs involved. Declan Rice has been linked with Arsenal. It's so there has been interest from Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United. He can take his pick. Although we're gonna sort of talk about where he's best to go to if he does leave the Hammers. He said in the World Cup that he'd like to play in the UCL or Champions League, and some West Ham fans were not very happy with that comment. I think he does deserve to be playing in the Champions League. He doesn't deserve to be playing at a club like West Ham, who are now 18th in the relegation zone. And unless we do a crazy turnaround, we'll be in the bottom half of the table, and he does not deserve that. He's a brilliant midfielder, and obviously I'd love to keep him because he's really helped us, and he's the best player by far on that West Ham team. We've got love a little chat. Arsenal, Manchester United and Chelsea, all there in amongst the teams who want him. Arsenal with the youngest average squad, players like Jesus, Saliba, Saka, Ramsdale. They've got a really young squad and he'll fit in there. Although at Chelsea, he's good friends with Mason Mount, obviously. They went to World Cup together, yep. And they just had a very good relationship. And he also played at Chelsea as a kid. He played in their academy or something. Although Chelsea aren't in a good place at the moment, there's sort of no plan of what they're doing. It's just, I think Graham Potter has, since he's come in, he's just not really done too well, I don't know what that was. But, yeah, on the opposite side, though, Arsenal and Manchester United are on the up. They're improving. So, if I was him, unless he'd want to turn Chelsea around, I'd want to go to a club that's on the up. Manchester United already with Casemiro, it won't do them any damage getting him. But he'll have Casemiro and Declan Rice in midfield is one of the best midfield in the league. I can't, maybe De Bruyne and Casemiro or something, but it's one of the best that you can have. And I think so that'd be good for Man U. Although Arsenal and Manchester United, I think that at the end of the season they will get in the UEFA Champions League, because Arsenal are going to come either first or second. I do think now that they've beaten Spurs they'll win the league, but that's a whole different video. And Manchester United should get top four. They've just improved so much under Ten Hag. And obviously that win against City in the derby at Old Trafford, where City are now struggling quite a bit. Well, you can't really. They've lost Man U, which that was sort of 50-50, and Southampton, which you can't really lose to Southampton, with 0 shots on target that game as well. He said he wanted to play in the UEFA Champions League and the World Cup, and I think that's what he'll do. He's got a lot of sort of good links with Chelsea, obviously, friends with Mason Mount, played there as a kid, but I think he'd go to somewhere that's on the up. And I think in that midfield with Arsenal, he'd probably take Xhaka's role, because He's way better than Xhaka. I mean, I'm not here with Theo and Luke, the two Arsenal fans that just, I don't know. They overrate Xhaka so much. I mean, tell you what though, he's been good this season. He's been and like if you were ranking the midfielders, he'd be in like the top quarter of midfielders, if you know. So, he's been better than he was. Obviously, that Xhaka and Souček argument on the West Ham and Arsenal combined 11. That was it's good we didn't do that after this season, because Xhaka would have been a lot better player and have a lot better stats. But I think he'd be good for him being in a midfield with Odegaard. So it would be him and Odegaard, and then obviously, no. If they have, it depends on the formation. If they go 3 in midfield, it will be Xhaka, Rice and Odegaard. It'll differ, but it'll be good for him to be in a midfield with them than with Souček or, well, yeah, to be honest, Souček. I think I was going to say Paqueta, but he just needs to sort of find his form in West Ham and sort of get, like, just sort of settle into the team, and then he'll start, I think, hopefully playing well. Arsenal, though, looking at a 100 million bid for him, which is absolutely crazy. They've never paid something like that before, although it would make a big statement for the club if they, that would show them, well, they have money. So, I mean, we've been talking. I mean, there is like the likes of Liverpool as well, and I don't think City would be interested, and also I don't think he'd really fit in at the City midfield so much. But I think with teams like Liverpool, he'd. I think if it was a choice between Man U, Liverpool or Arsenal, he'd go to Man U or Arsenal because they're on the up. They're sort of they'll probably get Champions League. Man U already playing in the Champions League. Well, Liverpool are as well, but yeah. So I think if Arsenal do, especially win the league, I think they will get Champions League. And if they win the league, that'll be a huge selling point. And, they can say, here you go, Declan Rice, 100 million, Champions League playing time, and we've just won the league. That's a huge selling point for Arsenal to be able to buy him, And obviously, West Ham, it'll be a big loss for West Ham. But I wouldn't mind having 100 million to spend on other players. I mean, just signed Danny Ings. That'll be another video soon. But I do think he'll go to Arsenal. I genuinely do. I think Manchester United. He'd suit being under Arteta more than under Ten Hag. And he'd suit being in sort of the midfields of Arsenal and the playing style of Arsenal, sort of in as they're progressing. But yeah, so I think he'll go to Arsenal if he's going to go anywhere between any of the clubs that are interested in him. So thanks for watching. You've been watching the English Football Podcast. Goodbye.